In the state of Indiana, there's a city called Gary. It was underneath the skies of Gary, with dusty roads, grassy hills and lakes, and the smell of steam mills, came a guy named Herbert Youngblood. Herbert Youngblood was born in 1904. He was raised as an orphan. He had an older brother named Felton. Some said Youngblood was just a regular guy. Others said Youngblood had a violent temper that ignited when he was drinking. Youngblood's first arrest in 1928 for counterfeit. He served 2 years at Leavenworth. Released in 1930, Youngblood went to St. Louis, Indiana, married a young girl named Bartholomine. A few years later, they moved to Gary. Youngblood wanted to reconnect with his old gang to start a criminal enterprise. Youngblood needed money to start, so on a quiet evening in 1934, he walked to Piazza's produce market off Main Street. He walked to the back of the market where there are 3 guys playing cards. Youngblood demanded all the money from the guys, but when the owner, Tony of Piazza, refused to give up his money, Youngblood shot him dead. He then grabbed all the money from the guys and walked out the front door. Youngblood was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and armed robbery. He was taken to the Crown Point, Indiana jail to await trial for the killing of Piazza. Herbert Youngblood was facing the electric chair. While Youngblood waited for trial, the legendary John Dillinger was caught in Tucson, Arizona. Dillinger was wanted for a bank robbery and murder he committed in the state of Indiana. Dillinger was brought to the Crown Point, Indiana jail to stand trial for first-degree murder. Dillinger was quite a celebrity back then. John Dillinger was facing the electric chair. The Crown Point jail was said to be foolproof. The jail goes back to the 19th century. Some very famous people actually stayed there. People like Jesse James and the Dalton brothers. Sheriff Lillian Hawley, who was also the warden at that time, made sure that John Dillinger did not escape by hiring extra guards, both military and civilian. It looked pretty hopeless for Johnny to escape. Herbert Youngblood and John Dillinger had not ever met, and they had no idea that they would be sharing the same cell corridor together. Dillinger's cell was here to the right. Youngblood's cell was beyond the ladder, the last cell on the right-hand side. At 8 a.m., March 3rd, 1934, Dillinger and Youngblood had woken up. Prison guard Ralph Calhoun went about his duties, giving the inmates breakfast. When Dillinger saw Calhoun, Dillinger stuck a gun in his ribs and said, "Unlock the cell, and I won't hurt you." Dillinger put Calhoun in his cell, and he took all the keys, and he headed towards Youngblood's cell. He opened up Youngblood's cell, and Youngblood was out. Now him and Dillinger had full control of the main cell room. They took all the guards and went back to Dillinger's cell and locked him in the cell, but they took Calhoun as a hostage. They made it through 6 unlocked doors, and they got lucky, found some guns. They walked to the kitchen, out the side entrance, jumped the fence to the sidewalk, and made it to the garage, which at that time was here. Inside the garage, there was a mechanic, Ed Sager, and Dillinger told Sager, "Give me the fastest car you have." Sager gave Dillinger and Youngblood Sheriff Lillian Holly warning car, and Sager and Calhoun, Youngblood, and Dillinger escaped from the front entrance and disappeared into the morning light. They released the hostages 35 miles outside of Crown Point, and then Youngblood and Dillinger headed towards Chicago. So the escape took like this. They started here on the 3rd floor, which the cells were. They made it through 6 unlocked doors to the side of the kitchen here. And they had to jump the back fence to the sidewalk here. And at that time, the garage, which was located here, and they took off from the front entrance, which was there. The cops put up roadblocks to catch Dillinger and Youngblood, but they were just too slick for them. Dillinger and Youngblood were headed towards Chicago. They stopped and robbed this bank. I think they got about $7,000. When they reached Chicago, Dillinger and Youngblood departed ways. Dillinger ditched the car on the corner of Ardmore and Kenmore Street. Him and Youngblood shook hands. Dillinger stayed in Chicago. Youngblood headed towards Michigan. Back at Crown Point, Sheriff Lillian Holly said, "If I see that John Dillinger again, I'm going to shoot him in the freaking head." She wasn't too happy, believe me. Herbert Youngblood made it to Port Huron, Michigan, probably hopping freights or hitchhiking. Youngblood had about $3,000 with him. He also had the 2 guns with him that he stole from the Crown Point jail. He spent most of his time getting drunk and telling his friends how he escaped from jail with John Dillinger and robbed a bank. Youngblood rented a room in the back of this store, the Dingy Store, which was located on Moke Ave. Youngblood walked these streets at 10 a.m. on the morning of March 16th. Youngblood's drunken behavior backfired. He went inside of the store and asked for a pack of cigarettes, but he refused to pay for them. He told Eugene Fields, "I'm the baddest black man you're ever gonna meet. I ain't gonna pay for nothing." Eugene Fields called the cops, and 3 guys showed up, 2 sheriffs and a deputy. They entered the store and saw where Youngblood was standing. And what seemed to be just a regular routine check of a person turned into a bloodbath.